bars in a raid. Man, I go hard, last stand.
Hello and welcome to another TouchyGooners podcast. It's your boy Dankoogs on hosting duty today, and I'm joined by my good friend Khalil. How you doing?
Good win. Can't complain. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad myself, man. Thanks for asking, man. You man never really ask how I'm doing. Yeah, so I like that. Appreciate that. We've got Napoleon.
Because man are calling you fake Dak Prescott on the internet, innit? So I'm just looking out for you.
Yeah, that's insane. That's insane. At the Vicha or whatever, you got an op for life. To be honest, you know what's funny? That's not the first time I've been called Dak Prescott in it. So I've heard it before. He's not original. Yeah, so you can't claim that one. But it made me laugh, man. Yeah, appreciate you listeners, man. Always interact with us in the TL. Sometimes for the best, sometimes not. But it's appreciated. And we've got Napoleon himself, German DZ. How you doing, my man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I was going to ask you how you are as well, but Khalil already did. We care about you, brother. We care about you, man. At the end of the day, we're hustling, but we also, we're friends at the end of the day, I think.
Yeah, I like to hear it, man. It's been a nice week. I had a near miss with my PlayStation. My wife sent me a message 3 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon saying, I spilt tea on your PlayStation, and I was mid-meeting, just head loss, blacked out, didn't really know what to answer when they were asking me questions in that meeting. But we thank God I came home. There was no damage done that we know of. So
you win some.
So yeah, we moved, man.
You win some, you lose some. When I saw that your holiday request got rejected, I said, "Hold on a minute."
Oh my goodness. Yeah, my head was. I'm not gonna lie. This has been a week, man. This has actually been a week. It's been a week. But Arsenal won 3-0 against Monaco. So we moved. We're here to discuss that game. Khalil and I did have our more instant reaction to the Fulham match for you on the Patreon. So if you are interested in the reaction for that game is up there on Patreon. We did play today, so I think most of the focus is going to be on the Monaco game. But if you want that Fulham reaction, you got to sign up to Patreon, man. Just £3 a month. That is less than a junior special. For any of you older heads, for the new kids on the block, I don't even know what costs £3 anymore, but you can make your own comparisons. There is a bargain. What does a meme coin? Yeah,
that
£3 a month. I'm gonna say it's a better investment than Bitcoin Tiger. I'll tell you that much for free. Yeah, so
should you run a pump and dump on the TG community?
Pump and dump, wow. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, there's a few patrons. If you might want to run that with us, yeah, we'll split the Pigeon. Yeah, don't worry. But yeah, let's get into it, man. So 3-0 up, 3-0 win against Monaco. Saka 2 goals, an assist. I think Havertz gets the last one. Being dubious touch, but I think it's for the best. I prefer Havertz getting it to it being considered an own goal or anything like that. So yeah, good win on the day. I think from watching it, it could have been so much more. The amount of chances that we created in the first half, especially not from corners either. So it was a pretty good performance, man. So let's start with the starting lineup. German, I'll come to you first. Because I think it was a bit of an interesting lineup, right? A few notable things. Obviously, Myles Lewis Skelly starting at left back, and then a midfield 3 of Odegaard, Rice, and Merino. I think for the first time this season. So it was quite interesting to see, and then Gabriel Jesus coming in to start up top as well was sort of the main sort of talking points, I would say, given, you know, what we have been experiencing with injuries. So what did you make of that starting lineup coming into the game?
I'm one for squad rotation. I think he needs to use the squad. So I was pleased to see a few changes. Obviously, we've got a couple guys missing. So I was kind of thinking, who's he going to play left back? I'm glad that he did start Myles Lewis Skelly there. And I think, you know, just talking about the players that have come in, like I think Skelly was really, really good. Like really, 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 really good. He looks at home at this level. I think, obviously, I don't think he played as many games left back as he's probably doing in the first team now. I know he's played some games, I think for the under 23s I've seen, but he's played a lot of games in midfield. But he was just able to do the things that you see him do when he plays at under 23 level, which is, I think, always the biggest testament to the level and quality of a talent, when they can do the exact same things that they do against their peers to more senior players. You know, we've seen talents come through that struggle doing that, but it looked automatic. It's the same as Nwaneri. These guys look automatic with it. They look at home at this level, and it's just about getting experience under the belt. I hope they get more opportunities this season. So really happy for him that he got a start and he played really well. Played a big part in the first goal. And then I think Jesus had an interesting first half. It was I was saying, this is the Jesus that I know. Like, getting chances and missing them, for me, is a positive, because the Jesus that I've seen over the last couple of months doesn't get chances, so he can't even miss them. He linked up well. He got the assist for the first goal. This was more like the Jesus that I know, so I'm seeing a bit of progression. Obviously, he should have got his goal, but this is what we're used to. Even when he plays well, we're complaining about him not scoring enough or not taking the chances. So to see him get chances and not scoring, and then linking up well, going past, you know, man, here and there, nice touches, I was like, this looks more like the player that I know. So I think for me that's a positive as a starting point, because he could have had a really bad, you know, appearance and could have just been rubbish. But I think he played well. Obviously, not leaving with a goal is a bit shameful. And then Havertz comes on with 20 minutes and gets one, even if it's dubious. But, you know, he gets the goal that you didn't manage to get in 17 minutes. Doesn't look great for you. But I do hope that Jesus gets more chances coming through the middle. I think he can still add something, and he needs to still add something. He shouldn't just be sitting on the bench. This is one of the highest paid players at the club. He needs to add something to what we're doing this season. And who else do we have come in? I think Rice and Marino, obviously Odegaard played as well, but Rice as the 6 was, I mean, we will talk about it, but I think this has been his best game this season. He looked fit. He looked energetic. Whenever he got the ball, he drove forward with it. He passed through the lines. He played switches. He was hunting off the ball to get it back. Yeah, I think I really like what I saw from him. So for me, those were sort of the standouts. Yeah, Skelly, Rice, and Jesus, I think, played quite well today.
Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. Khalil, anything you want to add on the lineup before we get into individual performances?
Yeah, I agree with Napoleon. I think rotation is necessary there, and it's not something that has been highlighted enough, considering that we have criticised Arteta on this issue. But I think he's actually done well. There's been a few changes game to game, especially when there's a midweek game, so I do appreciate that. Personally, I was happy to see the Rice, Marino, Odegaard midfield finally, considering it's December time. I know obviously injuries have affected that. But yeah, seeing that was a positive for me. Jesus up front, I can't lie, I was a little surprised. I mean, just because, you know, it's not like Jesus has lit up the world, but again, I couldn't really complain. And I think I felt more comfortable seeing Martinelli and Saka flanking Jesus as opposed to it being Trossard and Jesus, because I think that would have been smellier, basically. I did appreciate MLS starting. I was a bit surprised that he was starting, considering Arteta's comments about him having that foot injury, where he said he's only been in training for a week. And I feel as if, I mean, Arteta's already said how he likes to protect his young players coming through. So again, I wasn't expecting him to start, but happy that he did, and obviously he played really well. And happy that Timber didn't start as well. That's probably the most key piece we've got in our back line. when you consider the other injuries you've got in the area. So anytime you can sort of take minutes away from him, then it's and we still win, then it's a good thing. In terms of the general performance, very happy with the performance aside from the finishing for obvious reasons. I know we're going to get into individual performances, but what I would say is I was very happy with how the first goal especially was constructed in the end, where we built up down the left. That's something that we've been endlessly talking about. Having someone like Myles playing at left back who kind of just replicated what Zinchenko would do, but again, we're actually seeing it in action, constructing attacks more balanced on either side. And I think it gives more opportunity for someone like Martinelli to get on the end of things, even though he didn't necessarily do it in this game. And as we saw with the goal, slide through to Jesus, who was able to put on the plate for Saka. So, I'd like to see that continue, but I'm aware that MLS probably won't start this weekend. But anyway, I can't complain. It was a good performance. We created loads. Horrendous finishing. My God, it was really ridiculous, and we almost got punished with that Embolo chance second half when Saliba gave the ball away, and that could have been 1-1. But can't complain too tough. Jesus has had a make-a-wish performance where people are praising things that you wouldn't necessarily praise another player. But hey, he got into goal-scoring positions. He got shots on target. This is what constitutes a good Jesus performance in 2024. So what can I say? So yeah, good performance, good creation, shocking finishing. Let's hope that we get improved finishing this weekend.
Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. And I think it was nice to see, I think, a bit more balance in the side, just naturally with, I think Myles Lewis Skelly just naturally being a left-footed player, playing at left back, Marino left-footed playing in left centre mid. And I did think it made a noticeable difference to our play. To your point, Khalil, about us actually attacking down the left-hand side for the first goal. But I think there were a few moments where, early in that first half, you see Marino making the underlapping run and Martinelli actually, playing that pass, which he doesn't tend to do for very many players that play in that role. And I think Marino flashed one across the box early in the half. There's another one he kind of chipped. And I think, German, you said in the group chat, he probably should have done, had a bit more quality with that cross. And I think that was probably endemic of our final third play as a whole, even though we ended up winning 3-0 in the end. I see SofaScore's got that down as 6 big chances that we had today, and it definitely felt like that. I think they only had 3 in the first half. They had 3 in the second, but I think bar Saka's goals, I think we missed the other 4 big chances. Well, actually, if they're counting the Havertz goal as his goal, then I'm assuming that would count as a big chance, right? So, I think want to talk about individual performances, and German, you mentioned one that I'll start with in Declan Rice, right? And so he played this game as ostensibly the number 6, but I think he has his own interpretation of the role that is quite different to your Jorginhos, your Parteys, and it really came to the fore in this match for me. So what did you make of his performance as a whole? And supplementary question to that is, is this where you think he needs to be playing going forward?
I still see, and I've always been like an advocate of being flexible and not being too predictable. So I still, and I sent a tweet out and I said I still in some games like Jorginho next to Rice, or Partey next to Rice. I think I probably, from what I've seen, I've probably preferred the Jorginho Rice combination. He typically stays closer to Jorginho, and I just feel like we play with a better flow, especially the last 12 months when Jorginho has played in the centre compared to Partey. But I think I still like it for some games. But overall, I do think I see Rice as the 6, as the deepest midfielder. You know, people will say that he doesn't pass it through the lines as much. Jorginho and Partey are passers, but the game becomes more static with them because they don't shift the ball, they don't run at a man, they don't run away from a man. You know, they pass the ball typically. They don't really drive with it. And the biggest notable difference in Rice's performance compared to Jorginho or Partey at Sixers, the guy will get the ball and just, you know, there's a yard or two space, he will run into it, or, you know, he will go past the man. Like, there's just a lot more flexibility in how we progress the ball rather than just, oh yeah, we need to find Udegaard between the lines or we need to find Saka running behind. You know, he causes a bit more disruption and chaos by the way he can receive and then drive with it. So I think his long-term future and for the majority of games should be at the six. And I think the way we have bought and built the squad looks that way to me. That doesn't rule out that attack. We'll use him as a in the double pivot and as a marauding eight in some games. But you know, by Marino, having Udegaard there, Udegaard and Rice are two two fixed players in our best 11. I think Marino's probably interchangeable. You know, I can't lie. Lewis Skelly he's got to be coming for that real soon. He's got to be coming for that spot at left 8 real soon. But I think Rice in the 6, it moved me. I won't lie. Today it moved me, and it reminded me of the games that we had second half of the season where we just looked a lot more dynamic. And he played a lot of those games as either the 6 or next to Jorginho.
Yeah, fair play, man. Fair play. Khalil, I'll let you in on this conversation because I think you've been banging this drum for a little while, right, about playing Rice deeper. So what did you make of his performance today as well?
It was good. I think the main thing, the obvious thing is just how much more involved he is in the game when he's playing deeper. Because as I've said numerous times, when he's playing this 8 role, the game bypasses him quite a lot. And in other games, it's made worse by our right-hand side dependency. So he's just, it feels like he's just shuttling back and forth almost, and then happenstance to get on the ball when it's more in a dual situation. But yeah, I think we get to see more of his passing range as well when he's playing deeper. And I think it also just depends on how the midfield is paired. If we are to see Rice at 6 long term, I mean, coming into the season, I thought that the first choice midfield was going to be Rice, Marino, Ødegaard. And I do have some sympathy in regards to Ødegaard and Marino both missing loads of time. So it could be that maybe this is what Arteta always wanted. However, I've seen how he talks about Partey, and I see how much he loves Partey, which is an issue for me. He needs to shed his dependency on Thomas Partey if we are to see, in my opinion, this version of Declan Rice. But good performance from him today. I know there's been talk about his toe injury and his levels of fitness, but I think we're quite deep in the season to still be attributing his the lack of effectiveness in his performances down to that. I think it was more so how he was being utilized by the manager rather than he himself. I think the test is sort of going forward how in this especially busy period how Arteta decides to construct our midfield. And again, it helps when you've got super progressors in MLS and Timber playing either side, or Zinchenko playing that side as well. So yeah, I'm happy. I got what I got. I got what I wanted. A more involved Declan Rice. And we keep on saying you've invested so much money in this guy. It makes sense for you to involve him as much as possible in the centre of the park instead of having him carry out alternative roles, which he can do. But when you consider the situation we are in, where we're having to make up a deficit on Liverpool and obviously advance in the Champions League, it feels like more of a unnecessary tactical risk to be having Rice doing what he's doing, because it feels a bit of a waste. And yeah, let's hope this is a good stretch run of form, because he did play well and he probably was our best midfielder against Fulham. So yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I definitely tend to agree, right? Because
Well, Kooks, you're on mute, my bro.
No, I must be on mute.
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. I couldn't.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. Can you hear me now? But yeah, I think ultimately you have to look at this, and I think I'm going to combine a couple of your points, right? Because like Germany, you said from the way that we've constructed the midfield in terms of purchases, I definitely agree. You look at Marino coming in this window, Havertz potentially coming in to play between midfield and strike last season. It all points to Declan Rice being used in that deeper role. I know we extended Jorginho. Thomas Partey looks like his contract is coming to an end, so it points towards us moving in the direction of Rice being deeper. Marino plays either, alongside him in a pivot, slightly ahead of him in the left eight. But it's almost like, we're handing the keys to him in the engine room. And the way that we've been playing, and I think, some of the reporting around Arsenal is almost that, it's been unexpected how available Thomas Partey has been. And it feels to me that the manager is almost using Partey almost like an old rag, where it's like, I need to get as much out of this guy as I possibly can. He's squeezed all the toothpaste out the tube, and now he's, got the razor blade, sliced it open, and trying to, really get the last remnants out of this guy before his contract expires. Because it's almost like, well, if this guy is fit, let me use him whilst I still have him. And it's almost, I think, probably prevented us from moving ahead with what I think in summer may have been planned to be the start in midfield, or the midfield we'd see in most games. I think there's obviously factors into that. Marino getting injured in your first training session is obviously not conducive for him making a fast start to his Arsenal career. But I definitely think, if we are planning to achieve the big things that we want to in this season, I think Rice needs to be in that midfield ahead of Thomas Partey. In the last two games where Partey's not been in the midfield, I think they've been some of our best in terms of restricting the opposition to very many chances in open play. Fulham, I think that's the lowest XG that they've created in any match all season. Somehow they leave with a point. And then in this match, Monaco, they, barring I think maybe a 10-minute spell, didn't really have much in the game to lay a glove on us. And I think, that midfield makeup was a big reason as to why. I think Marino, very good in backing up the press. Rice, we obviously know what he can do off the ball as well. And I think, he had a really, really good game. And I think just built on a really good game against Fulham as well, right? So I do want to ask, what did you guys make of Marino? Because he has been kind of in and out of the team. The last game that he started with Rice was the Liverpool match at home, I believe. And I think that partnership worked very well on that day as well. So, like, what do you guys make of his performance? I'll go to you, German.
I think he, as I said in the group, I think he's got the right intentions. I think he's got the right ideas. Like, he's made a couple runs that where he forced Martinelli basically to play the pass. It was not a run that is stuttered, or he's running with intent to get the ball, and if you don't play it, what you're doing, kind of thing. So I like that aspect of his game. I think off the ball he works really hard. There's a couple of situations where you think, oh, just lay it off, and then he's like touching the ball, but he then turns the player. So he does have that a little bit as well. I don't think the execution is quite there yet. And some of these situations, I think the intention and the consideration that he has are good, but then the final execution at times lets him down. I think there was twice when he's been played on by Martinelli, and he did a very good overlap or underlap, whatever it was, but he got him behind. And then the cross was kind of rubbish, and I'm like, I need more from you on that cross. And then there was a situation where I think he was combining quite well on the right-hand side of the pitch, and then there was just like a pass into Jesus, and the pass was off. So I think he can probably improve on these things. He's probably not fully up to speed yet, because this is why he has not played fully 90 minutes yet, I think, really. I think he's been either subbed on or subbed off in most games. I think tonight is probably. Did he play for 90 minutes tonight? But yeah, I've not really seen him play full game, so I'm still going to take it slowly. But from what I've seen so far, I think the considerations and intentions are good. It seems like he has a good idea of how to execute and play the role. That is there, but some parts of the executions, I need a bit more. But I don't rule out that he can sort that out.
Yeah, the only thing I'd add to, well, I guess I'll give a bit more of an overview of what how I felt Marino. I think in the games that I've sort of watched Marino play significant minutes, I think he does well in sort of small spaces. I think he can anticipate pressure pretty well when he's being pressed and sort of turn out of it. He likes to do this little turn to evade pressure, and he seems to be interpreting the role similar to how we saw Xhaka do it a few years ago. I think what I'm definitely expecting more from him is in regards to his passing. I still think it's quite basic or safe or along those lines. I feel as if you're going to be playing, if we're envisioning this midfield role where he's going to be starting with Ødegaard and Saka, then I'm definitely going to need more of you in regards to progressive passing, because I think he has shown that he can carry the ball a little, but definitely I think I do need more from him on the ball. He's, as you said, he's interpreting the overlaps well. He seems to be making those reads if you're going to be using basketball terminology. But I think what I'm still wanting more from definitely is on the ball, and hopefully it comes with time. He's a Spain international, etc., etc. So I'm hoping that there's more quantity there that we just are going to see over time.
Yeah, I think there was a moment in the second half where he kind of beat their press and carried the ball, and then released Martinelli down the left-hand side, right? And I thought that was like quite a nice bit of play that we've not really seen too much this season. Someone is ostensibly, taking someone out of the game centrally with a dribble, to then, sort of turn and run at the defense. And I think, in some of these games where we've been playing these mid blocks, and, kind of struggling, I think that skill set is something that would be quite useful, because it's interesting, even though he's like 6'2", he does have quite a good turning radius. I find, you press him and he does that almost that Saka thing where he keeps the ball very close to his body and, changes direction whilst guarding the ball and comes out the other side, free to sort of maneuver as he pleases. And I quite like that ability to be, pressed and protect the ball. And yeah, I do think that he tends to be, I think, a better fit for that left-hand side rolling midfield than someone like Declan Rice, especially when you're sort of asking them to receive with their back to goal and that kind of thing. So, I would like to see a bit more of him as the season goes on, because I think, he does have a lot of attributes that we can, utilize. And I think that midfield just looked probably the most balanced that it's looked for a few games this season, right? So, let's change the focus to Myles Lewis Skelly coming in for his Champions League debut, I believe. Did he come on against Shakhtar? Maybe.
No, I think
first start in the Champions League. First start in the Champions League for Myles Lewis Skelly. And I thought he had a stormer. I really got to showcase a lot of the skills that he has in his possession. I think German Dan spoke about, the fact that he basically played the exact same way that he plays in the under-23s, riding challenges, playing fizzing the ball through the lines as well. And I think, that first goal is basically all him. Where he puts all of that together, receives under pressure, dribbles the attacker, gets his head up, sees Jesus running in behind, boom, passes there, automatic. Jesus with a good cross pass across goal, and Saka with the finish. So, I think that is stuff you can't coach, really. That's, just pure talent for me. And the best thing about it is, there's no fear there. There's no fear that, oh, I'm getting pressed, I need to play it safe. It's boom, this guy's coming at me. Well, I'm backing myself to be able to dribble him, and I'm backing myself to be able to fizz it through the lines as well. There's no hesitation to utilize these skills in his arsenal, and it came up to good effect. And I thought, that's a very, very strong first start in the Champions League for me, man. And I think he can leave, very, very proud of that performance. And I think, a lot of people were, thinking about that Liverpool game where, people put him at fault for the goal that we conceded. Whereas I think that should hopefully, alleviate some of the fears that people have with maybe throwing him into a Premier League game, into a more difficult game, because, the talent that he has is seriously looking top. So Khalil, talk to me about Myles.
I made a joke in the group about, what was it? Oh yeah, I think it was German who said something along the lines of, or someone said, "Oh, I can't wait to see Myles in midfield." And I said, "See you in 2029." I really need someone to get Arteta to trust him enough to give him midfield minutes, because honestly, that is his position. Now, in the short to medium term, I'm more than happy seeing him get minutes at left back. That's how he develops. You made reference to the Liverpool game where people thought he made a mistake. Honestly, those are situations that I want to see him in more and more, especially when the alternative is, with all due respect, Kieran Tierney. Like, I'd much rather you take the risk on a talent like MLS than going back to a guy who you ditched 2 years ago because he wasn't sufficient to do the job.
Right, just one thing, that's just, you've just killed me, because Arteta is legitimately a liar, Like, I've just remembered the pre-match press conference where they asked him about KT, and he's like, yeah, he'll get his opportunity, and then all the stuff is like, Kieran Tierney set to start, Kieran Tierney set to feature, this, that, and the other. My man brought Timber out from the wilderness, who no one thought was even going to be in the squad, to play left back for Kieran Tierney, man. Nah, he's too funny. He's actually too funny.
The opportunity he was referring to was Motherwell away. He wasn't talking about a Champions League group stage game. But yeah, that's another one.
Got to hold that. Hold that.
Yeah. He's only here by accident. So yeah, it goes to my point. I'm much happier that he went down the MLS route than going down the Tierney route, because MLS is the future, but more importantly, he's the now. You've got, in him and Ethan, you've got these supreme talents at your disposal. And this is where you really have to take the short-term pain for the medium to long-term game. And they're such great quality players that the short-term pain isn't going to be anything too crazy, especially if you're surrounding them with, quality partners, and quality coaching. These are guys that, if you give them the opportunity, they can show you what they can do. And as I referenced beforehand, just having, and you referenced as well, having left footers on the left-hand side, it's so basic, but it really does open up the dynamic, especially when you're trying to progress. And we can see the quality that he has at his feet. And yeah, I'm happy that he got significant minutes. I really hope that he gets minutes at the weekend and going forward, if need be, because again, Calafiori, you don't know when he's coming back. Tomiyasu's gone forever, and this creates opportunities. So yeah, in the short to medium term, I would love to see MLS gets minutes if our injury situation continues as. In fact, I might even go as far as putting it in the same category as when we were moaning about Ethan not getting minutes when Ødegaard was injured. Like, these are the guys that you have sort of.
Oh, hold on. So yeah, we're moaning.
What do you mean? I'm not following. Explain.
I'm just asking. So we're moaning, yeah?
This guy's bringing in group chat agendas to the real world, man. Let's articulate what we mean properly.
You said we were moaning. I'm just stopping you right there. I don't disagree with the point.
Yo, I'm just gonna say right here, yeah. You man have said moaning far too much in a short space of time, yeah. Let's chill out.
You know what it is?
Venting, yeah.
That's
Yeah,
my
we
bad.
had,
That's my bad. You know why? I didn't use the English language that God blessed me with properly. When we were critiquing his use of one area.
You already slipped up, Khalil, man. I got what I needed. Pause.
You're a nasty guy, man. I can't even just be. I
yo,
can't have my guard down on my own podcast. Anyway, the point being is, MLS is a top tier talent. It's the kind of talent that you create space for. It's the kind of talent that you make accommodations for. And when you consider our reliability, fitness wise, of our other fullbacks, it makes more sense to go with him than going back to the past for a player that you've shown that you don't trust. And as I was saying at the beginning, although he's playing as an inverted left back, he's very much central midfielder. So I would love for that transition to happen sooner rather than later. But yeah, top marks, great performance.
yeah. You see, for me, I don't really mind the whole inverted left back thing, especially in games like today, because as you can see, like he still had major influence on the game from that position. So, a lot of the positions that he does pick up are central, and I think, it just adds to his football education. From knowing where to potentially, be if he needs to cover, someone else who's playing left back when he is in midfield, vice versa, and just getting a feel for the game, and the way that we're trying to play. I just think, the fact that he can do this so early and have performance like that so early into his Arsenal career, that as long as he's on the pitch, I just don't think it's going to be a problem where he's actually playing on the team formation, man. So yeah, German, I know you come off mute, so I'll let you speak on Myles as well.
Yeah, I think I kind of spoke about it at the beginning, but yeah, and I agree with Khalil's point. Like Ethan and Myles are just top talents. You don't see that often. Typically, I think young players take a bit more time, or they can do certain things well. These guys look accomplished. They look accomplished already. And if our team wouldn't be as strong as it is now, I think they will probably end up being starters very soon. But because our team is pretty strong and we have high ambitions, I think it might take a bit longer. But I do definitely see them both being mainstays in the team for the years to come. I think I see Myles, potentially being that left eight, the solution that we've been looking for at left eight. I think Marino for now is maybe a stopgap. Maybe that's why we bought someone that's older, more experienced, help us win now, and then be able to make space for Myles coming into that position or even into that position. But even I'm not quite sure where he'll play. I think he could become a nine. I think that's where he played at youth level quite a lot, and he looks like he can really finish. And he can go past the man. He's got great appreciation for the game and in the timing of when to pass, when to touch, when to shift the shoulder. These things are all natural to players that do really well as a forward. So he might be the one that is the forward that we're looking for. I don't know, but I think they both look very, very talented, and I think we've been kind of blessed in regards to what we got coming out of Hayland in the last couple of years. I think before the Nelson, Saka, ESR wave, Willocks, Eddie, we didn't really have that many Hayland talents that have really made it into the first team, in my opinion, and provided us value when selling them. I think Bellerin is one of the ones that we probably should have sold when we had the opportunity for profit. I'm thinking back, Ainsley Maitland-Niles. I think we took too long to sell him. There's a couple, but none of them are at the level where I see the Sakas, Ethans, and Myles are going to. And then even the Baloguns, like Balogun, I thought was a really, really good talent. But I'm seeing Myles Lewis Skelly and I'm seeing Ethan. They look much better than him. ESR I think is still great. I think we sold him for profit. I think Eddie's a good player, Premier League player. He's struggling at Palace now, but we sold him for profit. I think you can see that Howland has actually provided us with a bit of a base to build up and build on from. And from what we hear, and there's more guys coming through from the academy that might make into the first team. So yeah, it's a great story. And I mean, I just watched that interview after the game. It was just like good vibes. Like, I don't really get that when I watch football games and they're done and I'm watching the interviews. It's typically like very like methodical and it's like kind of like a bit boring. They all say the same lines, but I'm seeing like Myles Lewis Skelly and Saka kind of vibing. Like you can see that they're friends and Saka's the big bro. It's a great story to tell, and I think for Arsenal Football Club, it's great having these guys come through, man. I think a lot of the fans identify with those players, and if we don't have those players, a bit of the identity gets lost. So it's important having these players and them actually being good. I think, and they're all good enough to be leading players. They're not just some. I'm sorry, man. They're not just some Marcus Rashfords, man. I ain't gonna lie.
You left out. You left out Reece Nelson from your little Hale spiel. Shout out, my boy. We'll be back soon.
Oh yeah.
He mentioned Nelson.
He's doing well, and he's doing well for them, man. Can't knock that.
He mentioned Nelson. To be fair, so yeah, man. I think Miles really showed out today, man, and I hope that bodes well for the rest of the season. How much we actually get to use him, since it looks like Calafiori may be another guy who struggles with a few injuries, but the quality that Lewis Skelly looks like he's bringing, might be telling Calafiori to come outside a little bit as well. So one to watch. So I do want to talk about Gabriel Jesus as well. So he comes in to start, and we were sort of talking in the group chat as well whether or not he needs to start more to maybe play his way back into rhythm. I think the Fulham cameo wasn't the best, which is putting it mildly. We're seeing him sort of duck out from attacking the football and whatnot. That clip was going around the houses post the Fulham match. But I actually thought he was decent today. And it reminded me of a couple of those, League Cup games where I think I summarized it as he might be like the waviest shit player you've ever seen in your life. Where he just does so much good stuff with the ball at his feet, but then when it comes to that final action, that killer moment to really finally slot the ball in the net, it doesn't quite come off for him. So Kivior plays an exceptional pass, I think, into his path. For his chest control to bring the ball into his path was really good, actually. But then the finish, I think he just sort of hits it. There's no aiming there. And I think the second chance where Martinelli plays him through, probably a bit more difficult because the defender was sort of, right alongside him, pushing him off balance. But again, not really getting his finish off. And then I think he had another shot before both of those opportunities where he got played in down the left before he assisted to Saka, and it was kind of a tame shot as well. I think the cross the box pass to Saka was, excellent. Great touch and control from Lewis Skelly's pass. So, that was where he was able to contribute well in the final third. But, German, I'll come to you. Yeah. So like where are we with this guy? Like what do we do here?
Boy, oh boy. This brother is cooked, man. This brother is cooked. But he's one of the last great entertainers of this game. One of the last great entertainers of this game. When this guy plays, you're in for some bullshit, man. You know something is bad to happen when this guy's on the pitch, man. That is the truth. Like he might do a madness because he does. When he scores, it's typically a very good goal. So if he scores, it's typically a very nice goal. If he doesn't score, he typically has hooped in some sort of way. He caught a body or two. And then he also does sometimes I think his decision making is so funny sometimes. Like, why are you doing this foul there? Why are you doing this skill there? Why are you not in the box? Like, he just does things that splits opinions. So he's one of the last great entertainers of this game. And I think as a player, I don't see any room for improvement. And I think I said very early, if you remember, Cooks, when he first signed up, I always thought he's a good player, and I still maintain that I think he's a good player. He's a player that disrupts the opposition He can create situations, expected situations, as Rilvan would like to say, but he will create chaos that leads to things. But he's not necessarily the guy to put the back and ball in the back of the net because the sample size is too large. You can't believe that this guy's going to improve his finishing, and I never thought that he would. He came from City with underperforming his XG by a large margin every season, but he was hooping his ass off in a lot of games, and that's what he brought to us in that first half of the season when he joined. And ever since then, he kind of struggled with fitness, injuries. At least tonight, he looked a bit more like what I've seen him, or the Jesus that I know. So we just got to accept him for what he is. I don't believe in the improvement in finishing. We just got to hope he can help us decide games because he can do that with the way he disrupts opposition and the way he causes chaos. And he can score the odd goal as well. And that's just what we got to take him at. Not more than that. So yeah.
Yeah, fair play. Khalil, yeah. I won't let you leave here without talking on your favourite Bolivian, yeah. So go for it.
Yeah, next time I turn on the TV and I see an advert for Great Ormond Street Hospital, I'm expecting to see Gabriel Jesus somewhere in the back because that's Make-A-Wish headquarters right there, man. Look at the praise you're dishing out to your top 3 earner in the game. Sorry, in the squad. Like, oh, he makes the game entertaining. Like, I think we got different ideas of what entertaining is now in 2024. Because I agree, he used to be. Now it's just like, like a racehorse that you want to put down, but you're doing everything to sort of extend his life expectancy. It's just, and you can tell he's low on confidence and all that. But this is cutthroat business, man. This is what we're trying to win, and unfortunately for him, we've attributed his performances to his knee injury, but whatever it is, it's not at the level required. We've gone into great detail about Havertz coming in and outperforming him. And if I start listing all the guys who have scored more goals than him, I'll be here until July next year. So I'm going to engage in Make-A-Wish praise now. The one thing I would say is I know that he underperformed his XG at City. But if you even compare him to the beginning of his time as Arsenal, I'm not even talking about like the dribbling stuff and him being able to get separation. Him even getting goal scoring opportunities is the biggest thing. So when I always talk about we lack threat or he's not a threatening striker, that's what I mean. Like, you can be a centre back for 90 minutes and not worry once about what Jesus is doing. But like today, you made the reference to the first chance he missed where Kivior did the ball over the top. I generally can't remember the last time I've seen Jesus throw on goal. Like, it just, I've probably forgotten it through my sheer hate, but you get the principle here. Like, he doesn't get himself into dangerous opportunities enough. Maybe, him being able to get into these goal scoring chances bodes well for the rest of the Carabao Cup and FA Cup games we've got coming up this season. But yeah, is what it is, man. If there's a footballing version of the big 3, he's all for it, man. When Soccer Aid comes around next year, I'm sure that number 9 starting spot is his next to Chunks and Philly. Actually, not Philly, just Chunks. So is what it is. We'll move on to the next.
Yeah, Khalil, you got to chill, my boy.
You're going absolutely ballistic here, man. What is going on?
My apologies.
What is going on? So yeah, I just seen a tweet really which made me laugh. And it says, Trossard, it says Martinelli drops a stinker, Trossard starts the next game. Trossard drops a stinker, Martinelli starts the next game. Vicious cycle, basically. So let's just talk about our left wing as well here, because this is probably the best the left wing has actually looked for a couple of games. To be honest, I didn't think Martinelli was that bad, which is, and I don't like having to say that sentence. I didn't think he was that bad. Like, why can I just not say, yeah, I thought he played quite well? To be honest, because it's too much. It's too much of a mixed bag for me these days. Even when it is better in quotation marks, performance, right? Because I think in that first half, there were times where you kind of saw how maybe this left-hand side could get some rhythm again with, some of the Merino underlaps that he was doing, receiving the ball from Martinelli, whipping the cross in. I think Martinelli getting played in behind. I think there was 2 times in that half. And his finish wasn't, quite on it, right? Or where the ball went out to Saka and then, crossed in. Martinelli hits one just past the post. But there's just too much nonsense also sprinkled in, crosses that are a bit too deep, trying to take your man, just losing the ball a bit too easily, running down alleyways, that kind of thing, man. So, German, I'll come to you. Yeah. So, like, where are we with this guy, man? And also Trossard, who I think, came on the last 30 minutes. I thought he did pretty well, made some moments, but again, some of the decision making that Trossard does at times really jars me as well, So it's clearly a case where I think most agree that neither of them are really pulling up any trees at present. But yeah, what can we do with these men?
One of them's got to go. One of them's got to go. This is the season where it has to be determined who goes and who stays. So yeah, that's the bulk. That's the be and end all of it. To be honest, for me, it's make or break with both of them. At this moment in time, I think they're probably on a level playing field. I think Trossard has probably had some good moments, but he's had some really bad moments. Like, he's really cost us in games. And now Martinelli, I'm just genuinely disappointed from what I've seen from him 2 years ago, and it's too long of a time frame to say, it's just like form. And no, I've said this last season as well. His actions are not good enough in some of these situations. He can still produce things every now and then, but he just did it with a lot more regularity and consistency in that season, even where we were chasing the title for the first time. So, that moment that he had against Fulham, he can create that. He can do these things, but the consistency on it is just like today. He gone past the fullback a couple of times, the left foot across, rubbish. What are you thinking it to? Who's at the back post? What are they going to do with that thing cross? Like, there needs to be a higher level of quality from him on these final actions. I criticize Marino for that. I'll criticize Martinelli for that. And ultimately, as a forward, you will be judged on your output. People are judging Jesus on the output and the lack of output. People are judging Havertz on this output, and then in some of the games, lack of output. And if you guys are not producing, then you quite quickly could be on the chopping block. And I'm not going to even pause that. That's the truth. And for both of these guys, it's make or break. I think only the strong survive. I'm a man that believes in principles, and Darwinism is one of the principles I believe in. And if one of them has to die, then so fucking be it, man. Because I ain't got time. So they either rise it or they die. It is what it is.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I really do hear you. We forgot to ask for listeners' questions. So it is what it is.
I'll just add in a bit
Go
about
for it, Khalil.
We got to speak about this Partey, guys, because for me, that was a disaster class today. Low key, actually high key. People didn't really notice it, but I noticed that shit.
Oh my God.
It's funny because there were certain Arsenal accounts that a week ago, like there's like a certain party. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but there's a certain party fan base that they just lie in the bushes waiting. For
Why they in the bushes though?
I'll let you infer what you want, but they lie in the bushes.
They're bots though. I think they're bots. I can't lie. Some of them are party by bull bots.
I don't want to make accusations that I can't pay the court cost for, so I'll let you say that. But what they do is they wait for moments of serenity within Arsenal Twitter discourse where we're not complaining, where we're not debating XG, or we're not debating chance creation, or we're not debating our transfer policy. When there's like moments of serenity, they come out and start saying, you know what? Partey's actually been a good midfielder this season. Like, I don't have my own two eyes, right? He, as you mentioned today, was not good. But because we had other competent players on the pitch who did their midfielding jobs, we didn't really talk about it. And for people who continue to be hoodwinked, and this goes for guys in the TG chat as well, they come out they're hiding in the bushes as well. Because whenever there's moments of serenity, moments of calm, I think we should offer Partey a one-year contract. No, absolutely. Over my dead body, I will go outside the Ghanaian embassy and protest if we go and give this guy an extension. He is panicking, as I've said. He's panicking because, hard borders, we're raising they're raising the requirements for permits. He needs an extension, and we cannot give that to him. He has been here 4 years. He's been injured for the majority of the 4 years. And you can argue that only one of those 4 years or 5 years now, he's been elite. That was 2022, 2023. I agree. He was great that season. Outside of that, he has been unreliable in every shape of every sense of the word. And when you actually have viable options or alternatives in his positions, it further lessens his importance. Like we can see now, or not even now, but we know Rice can be a very effective six and still lead us to prosperity. So this notion that if we lose Partey, that somehow we lose the ability to progress is hogwash. I hope people have seen this for themselves now. Like, great, fine, he's been available this year, but there's a reason he's been available. It's because on June 1st, 2025, he is going to be a free agent, and that means a lack of financial security. That means he needs to get his bills paid somewhere else, and that shouldn't be Arsenal football. So please stop. It's over. It's over with. Go and take his Stan account somewhere else where they can go and push party propaganda and leave us be. So thank you for reminding me, actually. Appreciate that. Anything you want to add to that?
No, I think you summarized it quite well there, man. I think his performance today was really diabolical, to be honest. It was actually insane, because it's like, I think if you go in the chat and you just see how many times we said like Partey, like what is he doing? I think I just remembered there's one moment where he had the throw in and he just threw it to the center of the pitch to a Monaco player, right? And it's just like, it's Uncle Drunk. Like, what's going on here? Because, I think we've seen Timber try to do that sort of, like throw it and then we run onto it as well. But he just literally did a long throw into the center circle and Monaco had an attack off it. And I was just like, yeah, this guy, he's obviously been at Eden Lounge or whatever last night instead of, tucked up in his bed with his, new family, this, that, and the other. So, yeah, I was really not impressed with that performance. And not only that, I was very encouraged by that Rice performance in the sixth, because it just shows you that there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I'm hoping that the manager also viewed that performance that way, because, like I said at the top of the pod, I do think they've got very different interpretations of that role. Rice is very much not, a guy that sits in the middle of the park, ball comes to me and then we're gonna, spray it out. But there's a bit more, carrying, a bit more movement with the ball, which I don't think is always a bad thing, moving players around before you release it. And I thought he had, pretty much a storming game in the sixth. So yeah, one to watch to see what the manager does. German, I'll let you close on Partey before we wrap up.
I'm releasing swans. The swans have been released, man. And we're
not releasing swans, we're releasing pigeons, but continue.
If the swan flies far away, I'm gonna clay pigeon shoot it down as well. I got that rifle with me right here, shooting that damn swan down. I release it and shoot it down.
Oh my goodness!
And have me some Dave's chicken, man.
We've mentioned about 4 different birds there, yeah. So,
but nah, man. But I think there was. And this is the funny thing with Partey, and I agree with that aspect that he will have, like, say, good half, and off the back of that good half, people will heap a lot of praise, And then I'm like, what about the second half? Second half, he's then running out of steam. And I'm like, this was not, for me, not a good performance because, you know, as an attacker, you can have a good and a bad half. That's normal. Like, that's they go through the motions. They don't get on the ball as often. As a midfielder, you have double the amount of touches as these guys. You can't go through one good half, one bad half. Which is why, this is why I appreciate Rice and Jorginho, because their game is really persistent and consistent, sorry. Rice typically has a 7 out of 10 game. That's what he does is relatively basic. Hunter gatherer. He's gonna get the meat. He's gonna cook the meat, and that's it. But he's gonna do that consistently. He's gonna do it consistently well. Partey is kind of in the. Oh, I might put some salt on this meat. I might put some chili on it. Oh shit! Actually, I forgot to do that. Oh, I need to take out. No, bro. I need some consistency in your game, and I think that's what's lacking with him at the moment. With that one season where he was really good, he was consistently good. That's the biggest thing. And I think before that season, I said as well, like you can clearly see, before he had that great season, I said you can clearly see he has a lot of quality, but fitness and consistency is not there. And he's gone back to this level where sometimes he plays well, sometimes shit. And that's for me not good enough. One, and I also feel like it's just time in the project to move past him, in my opinion. So I think he probably in some games still has something to give this year. I don't doubt that there will be some good games that he has, because he is playing for that contract. Make no mistake about that. He's gonna try as much as he can because living in London, he's got a family. He don't want to be in the trenches somewhere else, man. He's earning good money at Arsenal. This is a nice club to be at. He won't want to lose that. But for me, I think this chapter is closed, or it should be closed. The problem is that our manager is a real sicko, real sicko. So that getting that new contract, we could be waking up tomorrow and Partey new deal agreed. So boy, ain't no telling, man. Ain't no telling.
Mm.
And if you didn't get it, that was a Drake reference. Fuck Kendrick.
But just to add on something about our dictator leader, I know Edu's not here anymore, but it doesn't mean his principle was shit. When he did that interview, when he talked about when you do squad evaluation, you see the age of the player, you see the availability, you see the wages, and the wages in reference to the performance. There is no measure by which Thomas Partey ticks any of these boxes. None whatsoever. So if he does get a new contract, we all know the reason why he's got a new contract. And unfortunately, this is where people start to run agendas about it's a dictatorship and everything Arteta wants, he gets. So there definitely needs to be some level of pushback there. We have, between the emerging talents that we have and the 100 million we spent on Declan Rice and Partey's own contributions to his own performance at this club, there is no need to keep him on. So I just wanted to re-emphasize that in case. I know Richard Garlick is listening, so please take notes and go do your job. Thank you very much.
Hey, Garlick is not a sporting guy, he's got other shit to do. I'm telling you, I'm running that shit right now.
Tim Lewis,
like managing director now, isn't it? So boy,
Tim Lewis has even less chance of listening to this pod. If you are listening, bro, let it go, man. Just
well, what do you want him to let go?
You see that trim, bro? Pull up to the scene with your silly missing, man. What was
this? This is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But I think that's a good place.
What to play, oh, Declan?
Yeah, I think that's a good place. I think that's a good place to leave it, guys. Yeah, I forgot to ask for listeners' questions, but we'll catch them next time. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed that 3-0 win and enjoyed this pod. Khalil, German, thanks for joining me. We'll catch you. Who do we play next? Everton at home. Everton at home. So hopefully we see more of what we saw today in terms of chance creation, less so in terms of finishing. But we will be back after Everton. I'll see if we can squeeze a preview in on Friday. If not, we'll be back after the Everton match with a post-match for your head tops. As I said, if you want to hear what me and Khalil had to say about the Fulham game, a lot of venting, not moaning on that pod there for you patrons. Just £3 a month, so get locked in to that as well, man. But yeah, German Khalil, thanks for joining me, man. Peace.
Safe.
Peace.